checking the oil before we do the stress because I'm going to make that mistake twice after the Madigan line. So here we are just at camp, just off the Strez Lakey track. We are just at Arkaroola in the northern part of the Flinders Ranges.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for another video. This week's episode is a little bit different and shortly you'll see why.
Alright, we're just here in the Coorong in South Australia. We'll catch up with a couple of legends. We've got Bo and Kimmy from Outback Cleanups. We are also catching up with the one and only Ronny Dahl. So what are we going to do now? We're going to go down to the beach and we're going to do an Outback cleanup. I'm Matt, and this is Holly. We've been exploring and travelling around Australia in our old Toyotas for the past 3 years, going to some incredible locations. Subscribe to join our adventures. Alright, we're just here in the Coorong in South Australia. We are actually just about to come into camp and catch up with a couple of legends. We've got Bo and Kimmy from Outback Cleanups. If you don't know who they are or what they do, they're well worth checking out. We'll definitely give you an introduction to them in this video and how you can support them. And we're also catching up with the one and only Ronny Dahl, who doesn't need any introduction. And we're going to be doing a modified on Elsie and Bo and Kimmy's troopy for Outback Cleanup. So a couple of troopies on modified coming up, which is going to be really exciting. And we're also going to just sit down, have a chat with them both, and I'll have a chat with Ronny Dahl and just ask him a few questions that, I don't know, I haven't really seen him answer before. And also Bo and Kimmy, and just have a chat to them as well about what they do. So it should be a fun couple of nights and a good way to start our adventure down here for the Full Drive and Adventure Show in Adelaide. Also, if our audio is trash, I'm really sorry about that. Both our microphone jacks have gone on our cameras, on both cameras. So we're just going to make do with the stock cameras. So if it's bad audio, please forgive us. We will fix it as soon as we can, and might have to buy another camera, or who knows. Anyway, let's go, get going. Alright, got Indy here in the V8 Truby with the pop top. It's actually an ex-mine vehicle, so obviously you got Bo's 75 series Troopy here. This thing is absolutely unreal. Can't wait to see the run through on that modified. And that doesn't need an introduction. Ronny's Hilux. So we're just going to probably relax tonight, not do too much filming, and catch up.
The amount of times I'll have this really good shot, like a bug doing something cool while we're out cleaning or something.
Alright, g'day everyone. So I have some very interesting people here, which I'm going to throw a few questions at. We've got Bo and Kimmy here from Outback Cleanups.
How are you guys?
Howdy.
Let's just give the people a brief rundown on what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, Matt. Outback Cleanups is an Australian registered charity that travels around remote Australia doing remote beach, bush and marine cleanups. It was founded in January 2019 by myself. Kimberly and I run it. And so far, I won't tell you the next question actually, because it is one of the questions.
Well, yeah, you know my next question. How much rubbish have you actually collected so far?
I'll let Kimberly answer that one.
Yeah. So over the 2 years we've been running the organisation, we've collected over 61,000 tonnes worth of rubbish.
61 tonnes.
61 tonnes.
61.
Tell you what, 61,000 tonnes would be impressive.
Pretty impressive.
What's the weight of a freight ship these days?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, guys,
a lot of toilet paper.
Seeing you guys over the past couple of days, it won't surprise me if you get to that one day, I reckon.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully more of the globe will sort of clean up their own rubbish and we don't have to do the whole thing between the two of us.
Yeah, a bit of a big task there. So next question is, when did you realise, what was your turning point when you realised I need to do something?
The big epiphany moment for me was actually at a little campground on the Nullarbor called Mexican Hat Island, and I pulled in and it was trash like every other campsite I've been to. But I was so remote, you know what I mean? I was halfway along the freaking Nullarbor, and then you're down towards the beach, and and there's so much rubbish. And I was like, well, who can I call? Who's going to come pick this up? Like, I'd cleaned it all up, but who comes after me? Like, I'm just on a holiday travelling through. There's got to be an organisation that does remote cleanups around the country. And I pulled into Esperance and spent 3 days in the library just seeing who I could notify about this problem or who I could contact to join it. And there was no one. So I thought, well, I'm a carpenter by trade and had a back injury, was made redundant. So I thought, well, this is my new calling at life. Let's give it a go.
What is the most odd thing you've found?
Yeah, we found a Land Rover that was deep in the sand dunes. We just kind of walked up to it, didn't know what it was. We were just kind of just digging away at this thing, and then it's a bit of a challenge to get out, which was really, it was just a hard, good, weird find.
An entire car in a sand dune.
Yeah.
So basically, it looked like in the 70s they'd gone dune bashing in this old overland vehicle, and they must have chipped it off. It had like timber around it, so it must have had some kind of box on it. Anyway, they looked like they'd fallen down the dunes, and the dune had just claimed the vehicle, and it had just carried on like that for the last 40 years. So we found it by mistake, and I was like...
and we found the Woolworths bag that was...
We found a Woolworths bag from 1974 in perfect condition with the car, which we've got photos of.
What is the most effort you have ever gone to get someone else's rubbish?
The most effort we've ever gone to get someone else's rubbish. Look, I did a clean up a couple of years ago up at between Top Springs and Timber Creek up in the Territory, and I ended up getting bogged for a day and a half. And so just getting the car through to get to where the rubbish was like a 2.5 day ordeal by the time I was there. So just that, and then to haul the trailer up and get it back out. That was like a week mission for 500 kilos worth of rubbish. That was a pretty big one. I'd say we've got ones of equal size, but that springs to mind on the question.
Next question. What is the most valuable thing you've found?
Oh, most valuable thing. I've got the centre skull bone from a southern right whale that I was allowed to keep by the museum. The museum gave me permission.
What's the southern right skull of a whale worth these days?
I don't know. We don't have an ivory trade here in Australia. I'm quite glad for, but it's just the sentimental value. You know, it's a really unique piece, and it's massive, and obviously it's travelled to all different kind of places all over the globe. I don't know where, but just to have and know that it's got that kind of history behind it, I think that's my most valuable piece in my opinion.
All right. So, what is the future for Outback Cleanups?
Right. I suppose I'll answer this one. It's a bit of a big question. Outback Cleanups, say in a five-year vision statement, we'd like to have a dozen vehicles on the road at any one time, all under the charity's organisation name, and we'd like to take volunteers out for 2-3 week stints with like tour guides, and so we take people out to clean the outback up. They get to go see the bush, they get to clean it up, they get to get a heap of photos, they get this great experience. We do all their catering for them, pay for all the public liability and all the risk management and everything like that, but basically get Australians to get out on country and clean up their country. I think that would be a really good connection to country for a great amount of people and for their mental health and physical health and everything else. That's where I'd like to go.
I mean, being at camp with you for a couple of days now, it's pretty impressive to see. Like, it is burned into your psyche, obviously. Like, we'll be mid-conversation, I can see you just eyes dart to the side, and you quickly bend over and you just pick up a small bit of rubbish and you just put it in your pocket. You don't break your conversation at all. It's crazy, but I mean, you'll go for a quick walk through the bush and you come back and you've just got a handful of rubbish. It's just, you just pull it out of everywhere. So
Yeah.
I reckon next question is, how can people change their attitudes and just sort of, how can they start helping the cause? I mean, I suppose beyond just picking up a bit of rubbish to the places they go to.
Kimberly and myself would like to take Outback Cleanups Australia as a charity right across. Obviously, it's in our constitution to do the whole beach bush marine across Australia, but we'd like to take volunteers out. We want a big fleet of vehicles and we want to take volunteers out for 2 or 3 week stints and get them cleaning up the country on country. We also want to start an education program and do remote and regional schools as education as far as rubbish pollution in the bush. Obviously, you know, we're going up to places like Honeymoon Bay, up right at the top of the Kimberley, and we're going up to sort of Cape York and around the areas around the top end there, as well as down south here. And the education doesn't seem to be in the more remote places, so they don't know what happens to the rubbish if they throw it on the ground. They don't know that could damage a marine environment or it's an eyesore. They just don't know. So I think we'd like to get in there and educate those remote schools and regional schools, and so we can prevent this in the future. Because if we just pick up rubbish, we're just going to keep picking up rubbish. So we've got to sort of, you know, put the plug in, turn the tap off, and stop it there before it overflows.
So I suppose my last question, probably one of the most important ones, is how can people support Outback Cleanups?
Yeah, so if you would like to support us and our cause, we have our website, outbackcleanupsaustralia.com, where we sell our ochre sacks that we got big ones and the little ones for the little kids as well, and just this is a little bit easier as well. And we've got stickers, patches, and our hemp t-shirts that we sell as well. So that's all sustainable. And yeah, we've also got a donate page, a GoFundMe, so you can donate there as well. And as well, just clean up as well.
Well, look, guys, thank you very much. To be honest, like these couple of days with you guys has been a bit of an eye-opener for myself, and I sort of thought, well, you know, there's so much more I could do. And just sort of seeing your attitude, just picking it up. Yeah, well, tomorrow morning we're going to be picking up a bit of rubbish. But no, it's such a cool cause, and I think, I think if everyone had a tenth of the attitude that you guys have, then I think the whole place would be spotless.
We wouldn't be
you wouldn't. Wouldn't need it. So, yeah, it's awesome, and thanks very much, and yeah, we'll keep catching up in the future.
Cheers, mate.
Awesome.
See you at the show.
Thanks. This man next to me doesn't need an introduction. Obviously, we have Ronny Dahl here. Ronny, thanks for coming out here tonight, mate. Well, I suppose we've been filming all day here, haven't we? It's been a pretty long day. Yeah, it's been a long day. We're a bit frazzled. This is the last one of the night, so if we're, words are a bit slurred or we're not thinking too straight or some of our answers are a bit silly, then yeah, you'll know why. But
been a few of these.
Yeah, a couple of beers. So first modified for a 40 today, which is pretty exciting. So really keen to see how that goes. Before I ask the question, I've got to say it's a little bit surreal talking to you here because I've been watching you for years and years, probably since like 2016, when I first got my ute, and I was like, oh, how do I even full draw? How do I even do things? And you're always such a great source of not only entertainment, but information as well. And that's what, you could always rely on your videos to be giving the clear, concise info. So thanks very much for that. I have to say that. So I wanted to ask you a few questions that I haven't really ever seen anyone ask before, but we'll start off with just a basic one. How long have you been doing YouTube for?
Well, the channel is officially 10 years old now, but I only uploaded like a couple of little things, and just like I guess a lot of people who have a YouTube channel, just a couple of videos on there. Happened to be a few full drives doing a few things, and then I didn't go serious until I don't know, like 2013, 14, and then focused on it around 2017 onwards.
Next question, what came first for you? Was it photography and videography or four-wheel driving?
That's a bloody good question. It's got me thinking here. Look, okay, if we use the term four-wheel driving, then I would say photography, videography came first. My dad had camcorders every time we went on a holiday or across the Nullarbor. He would film the whole thing and put all these 80s and 70s tunes over it. It's pretty funny when you look back on some of it. I think that's kind of where I like got inspiration to sort of film my own little holidays, which I did, and I used his tape recorder for one of the first trips I did in my XT Falcon, and that was something else. We were trying to go to Broome, didn't quite make it to Broome. We got to about Tom Price, and we're faced with this track. So me and my mate Grant. So we came to this fork in a road. We could go the shortcut, which is down this gravel road, 70 k's, or we could go 120 k's on the normal way. Grant, of course, preferred the normal way. I had a sense of adventure. I wanted to go the shortcut. So off we went, even though he wasn't really keen to. So went up this road, and this was February, so it was wet season. And a few puddles come up. We were enjoying smashing through those in an XD Falcon. A few potholes made a few noises. Kept going, the puddles got more frequent, got bigger, and then we got to what I would call the puddle with a crest. So it was a puddle and a crest, and I think I was 18 at the time, close to 19, I thought the best thing to do is line it up, foot to the floor, and just get over it. So skimmed over, bottomed out on something on the other side, nearly brought the whole car to a stop, and then I eventually stopped myself, and we got an esky in the back. Now this esky tipped forward, lid opened, all the ice came over our shoulders onto the windscreen, and we actually thought the windscreen was smashed because it's all just on there, and there was steam coming out of the bonnet. My mate Grant, he was just abusing me because he thought I trashed the car. I got out, popped the bonnet, and I was stressing pretty bad, and it was just water on top of the big V8 block, just boiling away. So we did get to Tom Price, but we had to turn around because the cyclone came in. Falcons don't like to drive through knee-high water. So I probably went a bit off track on your question there, but that's what I mean by the first trip wasn't really a four-wheel drive, it was a two-wheel drive. But that's kind of what, later on I ended up buying my first four-wheel drive. And
Why did you start the channel?
so I started the channel because of the lack of information that I found. So I learnt a lot from making my own mistakes, and I made a lot of them and learnt the hard way. So, it wasn't long till I always carried a shovel with me and things like that. And I just found that once I kind of got my own skill set up and got a bit of advice from some other people and whatnot, I would head out and see other people in trouble or other people doing stupid stuff, like through Facebook and stuff like that. And then I decided to do, a website up with the old boy. So he founded the website. I started writing all the pages, and it was just all advice on how to four-wheel drive. And then I figured that people would rather watch videos than read because video became more predominant. And then I started using the YouTube to make the videos. And then from there, just kind of snowballed because people were craving this information. A lot of people didn't realise you had to lower your tyres, and it's not something we get taught. It's not something I was taught. I learned the hard way as well. A bit of a story behind that one as well, but, going off track again. But that's how it started. It's just get the advice out there that wasn't available for anyone really.
Yeah, no, that's unreal. I think a lot of YouTube channels have started like that, just a lack of information about something, and someone thought, well, I might as well start. And I think it's crazy. YouTube's actually the second biggest search engine in the world, behind, using Google, because no one wants to read about it. Why read about it when you can watch a video on how to do it? So, which is, preferred method. So, a bit of a hole in the market there, I suppose you saw, a gap in the information, and you jumped on it. So, it's really cool. Well, as I said, that's how I started. Well, I started watching your stuff for info. So, there you go. Come full circle, hey? All right, so next question. So, where do you see YouTube and social media going in the future in this space specifically? So, for driving, touring, and sort of travelling in a vehicle?
Oh, that's a tough one to answer. It's hard to predict. In a way, I feel a little bit concerned because the younger generation coming through, we all did stupid stuff when we were younger, right? Like really stupid stuff. But the problem with these days is it all gets put up on the internet. So I fear that we're going to get a lot more track closures and things coming up, just from people doing stupid stuff. And it's pretty hard to kind of stop it. If we sit here and we can whinge and bitch about it, but we're just being a bit hypocritical, I think, because we've all done stupid stuff. But the problem is it's now on social media, and it encourages this stupid behaviour by heaps of other people. And young blokes in particular, well, all blokes are pretty all dumb until we're like 25 or something, then we start growing a brain. From my experience anyway. That's just the way it is. So that's a little bit concerning there, but then you also have the flip side where you got some people like both Outback Cleanups cleaning up the bush. You got other people doing like some conservation stuff, and then of course people also bringing to attention that, hey, this is why you use four-wheel drive on tracks where you don't just do donuts and do two-wheel drive. The reason why we use four-wheel drive is, to preserve tracks. And I don't know, there's a lot of good information, but there's also the bad side. And to see where it's all going to go, it's very hard to, I don't know. It's a very hard question to answer, but I'm a little bit concerned, I've got to say.
I'm jumping on the next one. All right, so what's next for Four-Wheeling Australia?
Four-Wheeling Australia, well, we got the 79 being rebuilt. I'm so hanging for that to be ready. Yeah, so the 79's coming. I've got a lot more educational stuff coming up, like, I've got like this whole plan of how to drive in sand. I'm going to rehash the tyre video. So there's a lot more advice coming out, and they're kind of the videos that sort of are most viewed on my channel, and that's what most of my audience are there for. So I'm going to go back to the roots a little bit with all the educational stuff, like the videos, so people know what to get and what not to get, and what to do and what not to do in situations. I I've sort of learnt that over the last year, what people actually come to the channel for, because I've experimented with a lot of different projects, and that's sort of where it's going. And it's kind of how the channel started, and it's what I like doing, so expect to see more of that. And then modified, ramping that up to a monthly show again, because there has been big gaps, but that's been much due to COVID. And once all the borders kind of open up, you'll probably see us over in the big high country, Tasmania, those kind of places that we've always wanted to go to, and we were planning to go to, but we couldn't get there because COVID, you know. But it's affecting everyone, so.
Yeah. There you go. Well, what's coming up then? Oh well, my last question is, are you actually secretly a nocturnal animal? And you actually prefer to get to camp in the dark?
In darkness we find camp. I've made a whole brand about this. It started off as I didn't even really take note of how often we got into camp in the dark, and it just became a thing. And then it just the more people kept saying to me, "Oh man, like it's dark again." It was kind of a bit obvious after a while that we get to camp in the dark a lot. And I remember one year I asked Torbs, I said, "How many times have we got to camp in the daylight this year?" And it was a big year. We had a massive year, went to a lot of places, and he was thinking for a while. And he's like, "It's got to be more than 2, surely." And like we were both thinking for quite a while, like half a beer's worth of time, and that was it. 2 days, that whole year, we got to camp in the daylight. The rest, which were quite a few, I used the swag about 128 times that year, all nighttime. So, yeah, I don't know. We get caught up, even if we're not filming, we still get caught up in just like golden hour, and it's just all the colours go crazy. As you would know, being a photographer yourself, I don't know. I just get that burst of energy, my second win, about that time in the afternoon, and just love it, just froth on it. Yeah. Look, being at camp when the sun goes down, yeah, it's all pretty, it's all fun and good, and I enjoy doing that like with my kids or something, because you don't really want the kids in the car driving around, and then that's when you get to experience those things with the kids. But if I have the option to drive over dunes or something, or along the beach as the sun's going down, that's what I would choose, because I just find that there's heaps better. Look, it is a bit of a pain in the ass to find camp in the dark sometimes, especially when you're going across from WA to, say, South Australia, and it's about midnight, and you're like, all right, I'm cutting off at midnight because I've got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning to keep driving. So you're trying to spot a spot where you can pull in. And by the time you actually spot something, you're like, crap, I'm going 110. I'm not turning around because I'm towing. So it can take a long time to find a spot. And then you find somewhere you think is good. You wake up in the morning and you're just completely exposed. Yeah. You know, there's like a house right there. You're so close to the highway. So it definitely has its pitfalls, getting camp in the dark.
Oh, mate, it's all about that gold now then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting those good shots for the audience.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Oh, well, mate, that's it. Thanks for the quick little chat. And, yeah, we've got a few exciting days coming up, the Adelaide show and then Perth after that. And, yeah, we're really excited to come along. But thank you very much. Thank you for filming Modified today. And, yeah, can't wait to catch up in the future. Cheers.
No worries, mate. And thanks for being part of Modified too. Yeah, it's good to have the first HJ 47 on the show.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with that one. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
day yesterday filmed modified for Elsie and a modified with Outback Cleanups. Probably might have already seen the interview that we did with him last night. They're so interesting, Bo and Kimmy. I just love what they're doing, really get behind it. So what are we going to do now? We're going to go down in the beach and we're going to do an Outback cleanup. So we're going to see how much rubbish we can get, just maybe spend an hour or something down there, and I think you'll be amazed at how much we pick up. So we'll go and get stuck in. So this is the difference with Outback cleanups. Like, I've never seen anyone put so much energy into getting rubbish. Like, he's sprinting out of the car. Kimmy jumped into the driver's seat while it was idling along, and he's run up, picked up the rubbish, and then Indy, their mates, out the other side, and they're just hanging on the side of the car now, just picking up rubbish as they go. They jump off and they're just idling along. It's hilarious, but yeah, I suppose you just need that level of energy to do what they're doing. So, just got off the beach then from a little collection of rubbish, and we only probably did 1k up one way, and then yesterday they did up the other way, and in total 76 kilos of rubbish removed from the beach, and it was like a small section, and I don't know, crazy the amount that you pick up. So yeah, it's eye-opening. Anyway, we'll start heading to Adelaide, I suppose. Having issues with Elsie as usual, starting issues, EDIC motor issues, and I think a slave cylinder's gone on one of the rear drum brakes. So fun times. Now I'm having starting issues with Elsie. Got myself a new starter motor, and it's being dropped off to me at the caravan park. Yep, right. Having issues with Elsie again.
Join us next week as we start our road trip from Adelaide to Perth with a bunch of legends. We'll introduce you to them all next week.
Alright, we're just at the Nullarbor Roadhouse. Like, the car is getting shaken around by the wind at the moment, and we've been driving straight into it. We can't do above 80 k's an hour, and that is flat chat.
Cheers for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. It really helps us out. Also, make sure you go and support Outback Cleanups. See you next week.